Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Connect One on One with Youth Plus. Today, as always, I am your host, Kimathi Wina, and we will be having a very interactive and engaging conversation today with our guest, whom I shall introduce before he introduces himself. I mean, you've been to University of Melbourne abroad, mentioned as one of top 50 CEOs in the Republic, running an industry, an organization that has impacted thousands, if not tens of thousands. Karibu sana, Mr. Waithaka. How does that sit on you?
I am blessed and highly favored. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with my strength, my abilities. It is truly just God's grace in my life. So I'm supposed to introduce myself. Yes, Waithaka Gatumia is my name, and I serve as CEO at Centonomy. And our mission is to shift mindset so that purposeful people like yourselves can be able to create wealth and to live abundantly. That's our mission. And so I'm glad to be here, Youth Plus. You guys are doing amazing work. I know there's a lot more we're going to do together. I think it's vital that as young people, we understand how business works, because business is the driver of economies. Businesses are the ones that generate employment, generate profit, generate reinvestment. That's what drives an economy. So if we can get young people to understand that, we're in for a good time on this continent of Africa.
Just before we get to the young people, you run Centronomy, arguably the Republic's largest financial education organization. And we'll call you an intellect on matters of financial literacy. Why financial literacy, if I may ask?
Money makes the world go round. That's why. And if you don't understand money, you can't function in our society properly. And that's why we struggle. And so you've seen a growing middle class here in Africa, and yet we're not seeing necessarily the same kind of growth in wealth. So it means people are earning more. But the question is, are we keeping more? There are more ideas, but are we growing those ideas outside of ourselves? That's what we are trying to do, to build wealth, because in this world, you cannot function without money.
It is true.
Yes.
And the good book tells us that the money is a solution to almost every problem.
Well, I don't think that's what it says. It answers
It answers.
all questions, I think. But I think we might both be misquoting the Bible. Let's make sure we get that right. Somebody can put a link to that verse. But money is important. And if we manage it well, I think we can be able to truly grow wealth.
Allow me to push you back to something you've mentioned about young people and money. And what's the turning point? Because it is in the public domain that you can only accumulate wealth and resources. And now you are trying to have your burden with the youth. At Centronomy, you work with youth for the last 5 years, and which has worked out tremendously. What could be the secret ingredient to this?
Oh, you went with Youth Plus? No, but we've done it for a longer time.
With Centronomy and with yourself.
Yes.
Normally, it is associated that you can only accumulate wealth.
Okay.
Therefore, financial literacy is not something you can get to with a youth. Why do I need to know about bonds? Let me just get myself out of school first, get a job.
I get what you're saying.
Then you've just worked it out sweetly as Centronomy. I think, what's your opinion on that? What comes first?
So financial literacy is not just understanding financial instruments. It's understanding goal setting. It is understanding how to actually make money, because that's not the same thing as investing money. Making money is one of those things. And so when I'm talking to young people, I always borrow from one of my favorite speakers, one of my favorite writers of all time is a gentleman called Dr. Miles Monroe. And I'm paraphrasing him at this point, because he said, don't chase after money, chase after value.
Yes.
Because if you are valuable, money will chase after you.
True.
I have seen that in my life. When you offer the world something of value, whether it is yourself. So like you're offering value here. You're putting yourself out in the world. You're showing people, I can be able to manage a conversation. I can research. I can plan. I am valuable. When you offer that value in front of people and you go for, I know you're in university. When you go for your interviews, you will be different from other university students. Because other university students will come and say, I have the papers. Here, I got my degree. Wonderful. Good for you. But here is winner who has the degree and he has experience in interviewing and doing research for a podcast that was able to reach a certain number of people. What have you done? You have increased your value. So you're more likely to be hired than the one who simply has the papers, even if they passed with papers more than you. So if you understand that idea of value, money becomes part of the equation, then now it's good to understand financial instruments. However, you do not need to be a financial expert, a CPA, certified financial analyst, all those different things in order for you to build wealth. In fact, you can name many people who didn't even go to school or finish school who have managed to build wealth. Because they found a principle that works for them. They found a space, a market that works for them, and they worked it. So when I'm talking to young people, I say, your first thing is build value. Because if you're valuable, money will chase you. You've seen people who get hired and then they are being poached by other organizations. Why? Because they're valuable. I don't need to go and hire people if I know somebody is good. I don't need to go through the interview process. There are others who start businesses and they offer value into the world through the products and services that they do. If you continue to do that at a high level, money will come to you. So don't chase money, chase value. So when you talk about financial literacy, it's not about understanding financial instruments. By the way, I am not an expert at financial instruments. If you talk to me about derivatives, you talk to me about how do you calculate yield on a bond, that's not the stuff that I know. I know people who do that. And the issue is, am I putting my money where those people are? Most people, for all of us, all we need to do is have a goal and say, what are we doing towards that goal? We invite financial experts now to assist us on our journey. But if we don't have the goal, every financial expert has the answer. But when you know your goal, then you'll know, am I going to use real estate? Am I going to use the financial markets? Am I going to use business? Because I have what? A goal.
Yes.
Yes.
Working with a goal, and I've heard you mention the bizarre, or rather this magic of 300 to 6 million. You've mentioned that 300 to 6 million.
It is not magic.
And it just answers a lot of questions once you have it broken down. And I've seen you battle the level of illiteracy when it comes to money. And now it begs the question, for you as an entrepreneur and at a personal level, what made the difference, the turning point for Mr. Waithaka? What was that one thing that marked the end of one era and the beginning of another?
I think we're always changing. We're always growing. I don't think that there's one moment that things changed. But I will mention, because you brought up that video, I think that was the first video on YouTube that went viral for me, where I showed the calculation, and it's for you. By the way, it is for you and all the young people who are watching this. Your 100 bob is more powerful than my 1,000 bob, because you have the value of time. If you put your 100 bob into an instrument that's earning 10% per year, by the time you get to my age, it'll have far surpassed the value of my 1,000 bob today. So when I'm talking to young people, I say start now. Even if it's 10 shillings a day, whatever small amount, the habit of investment is more important than even understanding the instruments. That's what I was trying to show with that calculation. And I was saying, we're not even looking for high-yielding investments. We're talking about simple things like a SACCO. If your SACCO is earning you on average 10% per year, if you keep saving every day, 10 bob, 15 bob, 100 shillings, by the time you're my age, you'll be a millionaire. But you have to do it every day. Consistently until you're my age.
Yes.
And that's what's hard. I'll give you one answer to your question for me. It was my first job after university when I came back to Kenya. And I was working for an amazing gentleman called Leo Slingerland. And Leo was running a media company at that time. And when I joined, he said, Waithaka, this is a small organization. Don't just do what you've been asked to do. Do more. Find your space in this place. I took that to heart because I was being hired as a part-time sports reporter at that time. I did media and communications in university. So when I joined, I would finish my work in the first 1 hour of my work in the morning. Then what am I doing? I'm sitting around looking. So I took his advice. So I'd go to the sales department. I'd go to marketing. I'd go to TV. I'd go wherever they need help. And before you know it, you become vital to the organization. What does that mean? It took me from being an unpaid sports reporter to being the head of the radio department within 3 years.
Impressive.
It is the grace of God in my life, but it's also using the principles that I'm discussing here. I get very concerned nowadays because I see young guys like yourself when they come for interviews or when they talk about job opportunities and you know they throw out salaries that I'm like, whoa, okay. For somebody without experience and you're asking for those kind of numbers, I'm like, okay, why would I pay you that? Instead of saying, can I get into an organization and build a reputation, build my experience, build my value? I think for young people, if we can follow that principle, you'll see growth that is higher than anywhere else. Many times I see, it's not just young people, I see many people, and we've had discussions around this wealth creation, where they're like, pay me more so I work more. That's not how the world works. The world works, you work more, become more valuable, then you'll be paid more. Yeah.
I think you have given us a punchline that you become more by doing more. And you've mentioned that a young person's 100 bob could be worth more because of the value of time. And it is given that time is the SI unit of life. We have a situation in our country that we have a young population. And from statistics, we have almost 60% who are youth. And we still have financial and economic constraints. What do you think will be our game changer?
Literacy. So I can't wait for 2025 to start because we are coming to the youth. Youth, we're coming to you. Our our model for the business so far, we've been speaking to those generally who've been employed, those who are in business. And so there's a group of youth. Yes, we've worked with the youth like through Youth Plus and other organizations we've worked with, and we've run our own programs for youth, but it's usually for a small number of people. But 2025, we are coming. And what we want to do is empower the youth with the knowledge of how to make money. What does that mean? Let me give you some statistics. I think as of 2015, I think that's the last major study that I saw. In Kenya, we were generating about 75,000 jobs when you talk about formal corporate jobs, right?
Yes.
75,000 within the system that is there. Obviously, there's more in the informal sector, but the formal sector was about that number. We were graduating more than 100,000 university students a year. So what does that mean? Even just from simple mathematics, means 25,000 of them, there's no job waiting for them.
We have balances brought forward every year.
Correct. So what does that mean? That's why the informal sector in Kenya is so large. And in the informal sector, essentially you are in business. But what we have discovered at Centonomy, many of the young people who are entering into this market don't know how a business makes money. So they know if I go and buy something from China at 2,000, I'll come and sell it to you for 4,000. That's just part of the equation of running a business. And so what we're doing now, and that's what I can't wait for 2025, we're coming to empower young people and all people, not just young people, because we've realized, come on, our economy is majority informal. I think we're talking about over 14 million registered businesses in Kenya. Many of them are not formalized. And so they miss out on the potential market. They are also at risk to anybody who comes in a formal way into their market.
Yeah.
I think we need to really think deeply about the kind of disruptions that can come out of that. But if we get it right now, and more of those in the informal market begin to understand, how does a business generate money? How do I make money from that business? Because that's not the same thing. Many people think that the money a business makes is my money. No. We've been training young people and people in business and teaching them how you make money from your business and how the business makes money. If you have that, guess what? you can multiply and replicate that business in different markets. And that's where the wealth equation happens, is that you are no longer just one shop here, in a shopping mall somewhere in Nairobi or in whichever city it is. But now you have outlets across Africa. Why not? So I'm looking and saying, all these young people, if we just empower them like this, because not everyone by the way is meant to be a business owner.
Sure.
So what happens is the ones who are meant to be business owners and they take that risk and they build a business, guess what? They need a team. They need a team who are going to come and sit around them and help them build that business.
Sure.
And that's the employment equation that we're talking about now. If we can get more and more young people saying, I understand, come and help me. Let's partner together. Let's build. It also fortifies our economy. Why? Because all these other businesses which are coming from outside, they'll come and find one already in place. Can I give you an example of that?
Please do.
Have you ever wondered why we don't have things like Starbucks here in Kenya? And they've expanded all around the world. It would be hard for them to enter our market when Java House is already here, because that's locally grown. But there are other areas of the market where there's not the same kind. And so foreign businesses find it much easier to penetrate and to get in. So my prayer, 2025, we're coming to the youth. We're going to speak your language so you understand how to start businesses. If you let me talk, I can talk for a while. One more thing before you ask your next question. Biggest businesses in the world, name them.
We have Alibaba.
Keep going.
We have Amazon.
Keep going.
We might have the X, whatever.
X, Google,
Yeah.
Apple. They all started by what kind of people? Young people.
Yeah.
Many of them had not even finished university because they found an idea that if it was funded well and given the support, they changed the world. So I am convinced, even for this African continent, if we just empower young people with how business works and finance works, you will see changes you cannot believe.
I couldn't agree more. You empower, you give power.
Yes.
So to my next question that will be highly relatable is having an organ that is diverse and multi-continental. Do you agree or disagree that the external forces to a Kenyan market, or rather an internal market, have influence? And will it be positive or negative to allow foreign investors to invest? Will it be positive or negative in your own thinking? And why do we have limited number of businesses within our country, finding it difficult? We have very good brands within the country, dominant brands, that would rather just do it that way, be stagnant locally than get it out there.
I don't know if they are stagnant. You've asked many questions in that one question. I'm trying to figure out how to respond. Investment is good, but we want to make sure as much as possible that investment stays here. That's my prayer, that the money that's invested will stay and grow here. Many businesses are not ready to receive investment. In fact, we've worked with a couple of venture capital firms, those that do private equity. And when I talk to some of these executives, their problem is they have money they cannot invest. What does that mean? That they're looking for businesses which can absorb the kind of money that they have and give them a return. So the issue is not money. The issue is what? Is the businesses that can be able to give a return.
Yes.
Why is that? Because the same thing, the financial literacy. Our businesses, many of the businesses that we have are survival businesses. Whatever money comes in, the entrepreneur takes it out. There's no cycle of reinvestment. There's no growth strategy. So is investment good? Yes. Is the best investment that comes and stays. But I think our biggest issue is that we don't have businesses that are ready to absorb and give a return on that investment. I'm not even worried so much about foreign investment. I'm just saying even local investment. We have now built up sufficient local money that people can... Chamas. If you know how much money is in Chamas. But Chamas will not come to a business and put that money in because they don't know whether they're going to make money or not. But there is money in this economy that is looking for places where they can get a good return. That is the issue. So if we can build places where that money can get a good return, we will see a shift in our economy that we cannot believe. So when I'm talking to young people, yes, I'm talking about business skills, understanding how business money works in a business, how you make money from your business. Even if you're not going to be the business owner, but you're working for a business owner, aren't you going to be in a better place to help them achieve that same goal?
You will be.
So that financial literacy is what we're discussing here. So is investment good? Yes. But I hope it's investment that comes and does what?
It stays. There is an elephant in the room of building something, getting it to a point. We've seen economic giants, if I may take you back to Nakumat. We build stuff that collapses, and then maybe temporary. Will there be medicine, or it will be the doctrine that nothing lasts forever? We will just wait, it will collapse. So
Yeah.
what do you think is a solution? Is there a solution? Let's start here. Is it normal that we build stuff, tremendous giants of economies, they benefit even from economies of scale? You give it a period of maybe 30, 20 years, we have them crumbling down with bankruptcy, scandals left, right, and center. And maybe if you would answer that with a personal perspective, how do you work with that?
I think we have great businesses that have lasted a long time, but you don't know about them. We have many businesses that are multi-generational, but you will not hear about them because they're maybe not consumer-facing businesses. So I'm not quick to say that Kenya, we have had scandals, but not so many. And we didn't have the entire economy falling apart. Now, the issue with some of these scandals, there are various reasons. There's, political influence. There's obviously fraud and other things that are there. But there's also just simply poor, poor strategies on being able to build that generational wealth. So when you talk about building a legacy, you see that people start a business, they don't involve their family, and then when they pass away, their family are left with that business.
We don't know
They
where
know
to
how to
take
do it, and it disappears. So there are multiple factors around that. I think you would be surprised at the number of businesses that have lasted. It's just maybe they are not in the newspaper the way that you'd have seen them there. I think with financial literacy and opportunities that are coming up, more and more businesses are going to last longer. There's a wonderful business on Enterprise Road. It's, I think, one of the biggest offset printers in Africa, not just in Kenya, in Africa. If you've ever read a glossy magazine, they're likely to be the ones that have printed it. Called English Press. It's a third generation business. And you're talking about, that's close to 100 years worth of business growth. Those are the kind of businesses I like to look at.
Sure.
And like to say, that's enough. That's a Kenyan business grown here in our own country. Many of these businesses will achieve things that you can't imagine. But we must give them that financial literacy to allow them to do that.
Yeah, I think I am well answered, and obviously our viewers are. Allow me to ask you maybe a finalizing question that will be years back, maybe 15, 20. Did you see it here? Did you see yourself here? Did you see Centronomy here?
No.
So,
Did I not tell you? I was not even in the financial space. I was not even in the education space. I was in a completely different environment. But it was... I honestly... I believe in the word of God. And the Bible says that the Lord orders the steps of a righteous man. He orders your steps. And sometimes you might think, I'm doing this, what will the result be? But if you come into a space like this where you give your best in every space that you are, it will open a door that you could never imagine. I have always been deeply inspired by the story of Joseph in the Bible. So Joseph is betrayed by his brothers. He's sold into slavery. He's a slave, but he produces at a high level. Even as a slave, he is faithful. Now, as a slave, he even betrayed even further and sent to jail. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a place where you could just enter into bitterness and say, I was betrayed by my family. I was made a slave. Somebody told a lie, and now I'm in jail.
They are saying
See-
life is meant to be hard.
Yes, bitterness can kick in. But no, even in jail, he became valuable. Everything that happened in that jail, that's what the Bible talks about. The warden put him in charge of it. And he was faithful in that moment. And all it was doing was preparing him for one chance before the king that took him from being a prisoner and a slave to being a prime minister. Faithfulness in every small thing. And so I cannot say that I've been like Joseph, but I'm trying to be. That if I can be faithful in small things, it opens doors. I never saw myself seated in a place like this, talking to somebody as amazing as yourself.
Thank you so much.
Having millions of people view my videos online. It's the kind of things that I've seen. It is truly the grace of God in my life. So don't look at where you are now as an indicator of where you're going to be. Those two places could be completely different. But if you apply faithfulness in every stage, I believe you'll see the goodness of God in your life.
That is very true. Even as we wind up this discussion, there is a group, a block that is coming up strongly, the Gen Z. Would you mind addressing Gen Z in probably a word or two concerning anything that regards?
I thought that's all we've been talking about the whole time. This message is for the Gen Zs.
If anything...
You know why?
Yes.
Think about this. Africa is at a turning point. Yeah? The rest of the world is slowing down. Population-wise, growth, it's an issue. That's why you're seeing all these advertisements saying, come to Canada, come to wherever, because their population is declining. What does that mean? They're looking for places not only to invest, but also they need markets to sell. Which is the continent that is growing?
Africa.
Which is therefore the biggest market that you need to start investing in?
Africa.
Where are the greatest opportunities for growth?
It should be Africa.
Who are you going to be selling your best idea to?
It should be the African young people. I think if I may add to that is that there is a South African man, Vusi Thembekwayo.
Yeah.
He mentions that Africa may not be giving as much as it's taking, because in countries like Ghana, they have 35% of their population is well above the age of 25. Now the rest of 75 is below. Give it around 40 years, now that population will be now the market. They will be the labor, it will be the intellectuals, it will be the consumer and everything else.
Yep.
And therefore there is every reason to believe in Africa. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for viewing us. This has been the One-on-One Connect with your host, Kimathi Wina, and we also wish to congratulate and thank you, Mr. Waithaka, for making time for us. Until next time, bye-bye.